a world-beating defense.
Wilson looking down the field, and it is intercepted.
A well-rounded offense.
Underneath route, see Baker come here. He spots Sutton open over the middle, and that is a huge third down completion on 3rd and long. That's the kind.
And a genius head coach calling the shots with his perfect system quarterback.
You're learning each week, and then pretty soon you're like, I belong here. And it's clear he belongs here.
After nearly a decade of circling the drain of the NFL, the Denver Broncos are back in a big way. They took the league by storm, going from 7 consecutive losing seasons to 10 wins and legitimate status as a contender.
Talent. When I look at Denver, I think in maybe next year, they're going to be close to that level. I think this year they're going to be a double-digit win team that I think probably will get Super Bowl buzz going into the.
And they might still be playing with one hand tied behind their back. Watch out, Kansas City. It's time to admit that the Denver Broncos are terrifying. Before we can get into the new moves, let's go over what the Broncos did to start climbing the mountain last season. The biggest change was clearly going from Russell Wilson to rookie Bo Nix, with all the various cap and eagle implications that came with it. Nix was wildly popular with teammates at both Auburn and Oregon, and earned himself a solid draft stock despite being older and less physically gifted. The high personality score and arm talent caught the eye of Sean Payton, and Nix was drafted at 12th overall in the 2024 NFL Draft. Slated as Payton's new Drew Brees, expectations and projections were split, expecting Nix to be anything from Justin Herbert to Josh Rosen. Luckily, he found himself closer to the side of hit than miss. He joined an offense full of young talent, including Courtland Sutton, Javonte Williams, Troy Franklin, and Devon Vele, and threw for almost 3,800 yards as a rookie. He was a finalist for Offensive Rookie of the Year, only overshadowed by Jaden Daniels and his historic run. Sure, Nick struggled early in the year, but once he adjusted to the Payton offense, he looked comfortable behind his well-built offensive line and distributed efficiently despite having one of the NFL's least effective rushing attacks. Excitingly for Broncos fans, the vast improvement on offense was only half the story. On the defensive end, a switch was flipped after the infamous 70-point Dolphins loss from 2023. Since mid-2023, Denver has fielded one of the best defensive units in football, coached by Vance Joseph and led by superstar cornerback Patrick Surtain. Surtain had yet another season of dominance, breaking up 11 passes and catching 4 interceptions, which may sound average, but that's because he was one of the NFL's least targeted corners, thanks to him being a wildly effective lockdown guy. With Surtain's dominance leading the way, smaller stars like Brandon Jones, Cody Barton, Nick Bonito, and Jonathan Cooper had room to elevate their own game. Combined, the team posted one of the best all-round defenses in the league, with the 3rd fewest points allowed and 7th fewest total yards. This team and individual brilliance led to a Defensive Player of the Year award for Pat Surtain, and the unit proved it could be the driving force for a playoff team. In their postseason debut, the Broncos struggled against Josh Allen's Buffalo Bills, but they had proven that they were on the right track. The defense had allowed 6 fewer points and 60 fewer yards per game than in 2023, and the offense scored 4 more points per game and threw for more than 20 more yards per game. Bo Nix brought youthful energy and a willingness to be coached by the Broncos, and that energy, mixed with Pat Surtain's dominance, produced a playoff team that nobody saw coming. With Russell Wilson still dominating the cap, this team was expected to be in line for a top 10 draft pick, not duking it out with the Bills in the playoffs. Entering the 2025 offseason, Denver needed to make a few moves in order to take another step towards their second Super Bowl of the 21st century. They didn't lose too much in free agency, but did say goodbye to Javonte Williams after years of average service in the run game. They made some simple moves like bringing in Trent Sherfield as a special teamer and Sam Ehlinger as an emergency quarterback, but they made 3 signings that should actually move the needle for them immediately. First, Evan Ingram is the perfect tight end for a Sean Payton offense. After fighting for relevance in New York and Jacksonville, Ingram finds himself in an empty tight end room and with a quarterback in Nix who would love a big athletic option over the middle. Ingram should be penciled in for 30 receptions and 500 yards now, with room for more if he and Nix develop a solid bond. The real swings, however, were taken on defense, when the Broncos raided the San Francisco pantry to swipe both linebacker Dre Greenlaw and safety Talanoa Hufanga in free agency. Both are coming off injuries, but have shown themselves to be excellent teammates in a great unit and capable of individual greatness. Hufanga in particular is a ball hawk and should provide a ton of back-end support for Surtain. Both of these players could wear green dots in worse situations, and now they are added as secondary playmakers to an already stacked defense. Greenlaw played alongside Fred Warner for multiple seasons, and therefore got overshadowed a bit. He is excellent in his own right when healthy, and can work very well in slot coverage or as backup pressure on the quarterback. All of these signings added immediate starters to Denver's roster, improving their overall synergy with each acquisition. Now, we can move on to the 2025 NFL Draft. As the board fell to them, the Broncos had a solid list of options, from star running backs and elite receivers to project pass rushers and athletic corners. At the end of the day, though, Denver continued to play towards its strengths and added to the defense, using the 20th overall pick to select Jahdae Barron from Texas as a cornerback to play across from Surtain. Barron was widely considered the second or third best corner in the draft, yet he was available at 20 for the Broncos. An absolute steal. Barron runs a 4.39 40-yard dash and has good size at 5'10" and 194 pounds. He was praised both at Texas and during the pre-draft process for his field awareness and combination of smooth and smart movement. Barron's speed means he can keep pace with any receiver, but his best trait is his vision, being able to consistently make the right read and make the biggest plays. And in a division with Xavier Worthy catching bombs from Mahomes and Justin Herbert dealing all over the field, a pair of shutdown corners makes Denver a legitimate threat in rivalry games. Barron was a steal and a slam dunk pick for Denver, and they continued cooking in the draft, improving their depth and accounting for future needs. With Zach Allen and John Franklin Myers both playing on expiring deals in 2025, Denver drafted LSU's Savion Jones to be a developing edge rusher to terrorize AFC West QBs. They added other projects, bringing in Quay Robinson to study Alex Singleton and Dre Greenlaw, and Caleb Lohner to take reps with Evan Ingram at tight end. But the two best picks made by Denver, outside of Barron, were their two picks following the first round. In the third round, they selected Pat Bryant, a wideout from Illinois who excels in getting open and breaking away, which meshes well with Nix and Payton's mutual love for downfield shots. Bryant was a 3-year starter with the Fighting Illini and nearly recorded 1,000 yards in his 10-touchdown 2024 season. His footwork and breakaway speed were complemented on tape, and he could be a very good draw for opposing corners, able to open up other options instead of just running track routes. But our favorite pick that Denver made in the draft must be RJ Harvey, one of this year's most underrated running backs. A sneaky top 10 prospect at the position, Harvey went 60th overall to the Broncos in the second round after rushing for almost 1,600 yards in his 6th college season at UCF. While the age number would usually be concerning at 24, Harvey was young coming into college and mostly gained eligibility from redshirting and the COVID season. He also tore his ACL in 2021, but he's been great ever since. A team captain at UCF, Harvey was praised by draft scouts for his patience in the running game, using elite bursts to take advantage of holes his offensive line could create. As the lead back in Denver, he'll have Quinn Miners and Ben Powers opening inside holes for him, and will be able to rely on his maneuverability to be a beast in space. He's not Omarion Hampton, but Denver used their draft resources perfectly to improve at positions of need and get deeper everywhere else. As we get ready to move on from the Broncos roster, I mentioned in the intro that the Broncos might be fighting with a hand tied behind their back, and that rope is getting cut very soon. That shackle? The dead money from the awful Russell Wilson contract. Thanks to Denver making the right call and letting Russ cook elsewhere, they had to pay him $53 million in dead money in 2024 and will lose $32 million against the cap in the 2025 offseason. This loss of dead cap money made them one of the worst spending situations in the league, especially with some of the iffy signings that came after trading for Russ. But after 2025, the contract is gone, and that amount of spare cap can immediately be used to fill whatever holes get exposed in the season to come. Even if the year doesn't go as planned, Sean Payton will be able to make whatever moves necessary to take the final steps towards a championship. Moving into the outlook for the 2025 season, it's going to be a pretty tough road to win the division or gain solid footing in the wildcard race. The sophomore slump is a real concern for Bo Nix and the team as a whole, especially in such a tough and improved division. But it can't be overstated how well Sean Payton has reshaped the roster to be a more modern version of his Saints team of the late 2000s. Obviously, it seems like every team in the AFC West got better this offseason, with Kansas City upgrading their receivers and O-line, the Raiders adding Geno Smith and Ashton Jeanty, and the Chargers adding Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton to a crazy run game. But I give Denver a fair shot against any of their divisional opponents, so the questions fall on their remaining schedule. The Broncos have a gauntlet of opponents coming up in 2025, with the defending champ Eagles, rising star Commanders, and re-established Texans all on the schedule as road games. Then at home, they will have to contend with the explosive offense of the Bengals and a Packers team which was 10-1 against teams outside the NFC North last season. There are some simpler games like the Jaguars, Titans, and Giants at home, and the Colts and Jets on the road. The gauntlet could be tough, especially if schedule makers end up putting some of the best opponents close together, but I think it's more than fair to expect another 10-win season and playoff appearance from the Broncos. When looking at all of these pieces, the great coaches and roster, a winning culture, and the great offseason, it's hard to see Denver as anything other than a team that could beat anyone. There's room for the defense to be even better than it was last year, thanks to the additions of Talanoa Hufanga, Jahdae Barron, Dre Greenlaw, and Savion Jones. And Harvey will help the Denver offense finally get a real run game under it, giving Bo Nix even more time to throw and develop as a pocket presence. Sean Payton was brought in by the Broncos' new ownership to bring the franchise back to relevancy after they had slipped so far following Peyton Manning's retirement. And now, they are so close to reaching those same heights. There will always be questions about Bo Nix's ceiling and the weapons he has to work with, but he's proved critics wrong before, and it would be foolish to count them out. Good luck to anyone who plays these guys in 2025, because the Denver Broncos are absolutely terrifying. But what do you guys think? Does Denver have enough talent to make a deep playoff run? Let us know in the comments below.